Welcome back to Hardball. Donald Trump continues to dominate a crowded field of Republicans in two early primary contests. According to new numbers from CNN ORC, Trump leads in Nevada at 38%, Dr. Carson's 22%. In South Carolina, it's roughly the same. Trump at 36, Dr. Carson down at 18. Those are the front runners. But the same anti-establishment fervor that's fueling the rise of outsiders like those two in the 2016 presidential contest is stirring up chaos in the Congress, where the Republican caucus is coming apart right now. Like GOP primary voters, Republicans on Capitol Hill appear in no mood to crown another insider as their leader. Joining me right now is U.S. Congressman Reid Ribble, a Republican from Wisconsin, who up until last week was a member of the House Freedom Caucus, the group credited with driving out John Boehner as Speaker and keeping Kevin McCarthy from going for it. Congressman Ribble resigned from the Freedom Caucus just last week. And also with us tonight, former Congressman J.C. from Oklahoma. He was a Republican from Oklahoma. He's a Rand Paul supporter right now. Gentlemen, Congressman Ribble, let me ask you about the state of play on the Hill. Is it possible to select a Speaker in the Republican caucus? Is it possible?
Oh, sure. It's absolutely possible, Chris. I think the person that emerges, that crafts a big vision to focus the conference on specific policy reforms that we want to bring to the American people and gets us moving in that same direction. We all have similar political ideologies and beliefs, but this conference will come together. And we shouldn't be in a hurry to get this done necessarily. We should be in a hurry to get it right. And so, yeah, we're going to find someone who will come forward, and I think we're all going to be fine.
Well, what about the mathematics that more than half your caucus are only there for 5 years so far? They're only there for 5 years altogether, each of them, and they want to have a lot of power, and they want to be able to offer amendments on the floor, a completely open rule. How can you have the leadership ever agree to such a system, which would be, it would just institutionalize chaos?
Well, no, it wouldn't necessarily institutionalize chaos. I think there's a way of offering amendments or offering legislation. I think what really members want is they want a clear system of rules that are applied equally to everybody and know what those rules are and then enforce those rules completely so that if you have a policy solution, if you do the work under those rules, you're going to get a shot at having a vote on the floor. And then if it passes, if you can convince 218 of your colleagues that it's a good idea and it passes, you get to move forward with it. If you don't, you have to go back and figure out a new policy solution.
Let me go to J.C. Watts. What's this talk about you being a candidate for Speaker as a former member? Is that credible?
Chris, that has about as much wisdom as going beyond the next 2 or 3 weeks to find a Speaker. I agree with the Congressman that they need to do it right, and I would say do it quickly, because I think the longer that it goes, I think the more it plays into the narrative that we're dysfunctional. And of course, I think all majorities have their dysfunctions. It's just a matter of degree. But nevertheless, I do think it would be wise, and there's a lot of wisdom in getting it right and doing it quite quickly. They need a permanent leader. I don't care if it's Abraham Lincoln. You don't need a non-member of Congress being the Speaker of the House.
Well, let me go back to Congressman Ribble, because in the presidential field, when you keep watching it, as I do, and you do probably every day or so, you notice that the people getting votes in the primaries, according to the polling, are people with no government experience, no congressional experience, no Washington experience. They've never taken the oath to serve their country, their district, or their state. And that's Trump. That's Dr. Carson. That's also Fiorina to some extent. And they're killing the people that have had any kind of a resume. So isn't it the same thing that's going on with your party, that if you've got any kind of stature on Capitol Hill, you're considered an insider and by definition a villain? Isn't that the problem? That's why McCarthy went down. That's why Boehner went down. They're figures of some stature in Congress, and that's not a good thing to be these days, apparently.
Well, yeah, I think there's some of that to that, Chris, but I don't think it's the total story. I think, quite frankly, that members have seen a system of order that has come apart in the Congress, and when that order has come apart and it's not reliable, a new order has emerged.